0.1 second. 0.1 second, tenth of a second. How many milliseconds? 100 milliseconds. 0.1 second, tenth of a second. How fast? I don't know. Pretty fast. What happens when that happens? So I have SA node fire, it sends out waves. It fires how often? At 75 BPM or once every 800 milliseconds. We call this a sinus rhythm because it's the sinoatrial node, RHYTHM. Sinus rhythm. This is everyone in here. If you're have a normal heart, you have a sinus rhythm. It's established by the SA node. It fires, it sends waves that wash over both atria. It takes about a tenth of a second to do that wash. When the electricity washes over both atria, what do? Squeeze. They don't go buy a hamburger, right? They squeeze. They become systolic. Think in your mind real quick if you studied the heart. If not, look at your drawings if you have them. If I squeeze this one, where does the blood go? Right in here, right? That's the easy one. Where if I squeeze this one, where's it go? Right in here. Those are two easy ones, right? It's the next squeeze where you gotta wonder which artery they're gonna go out. But do that, think about that. That's what's gonna happen. Fire, tenth of a second later, they're squeezed. The blood is leaving the atria and going into the ventricles. What valves are the blood going through? Tell me. What valves is the blood going through? The AV valves, the other cuspids, the bicuspid and tricuspid. Tricuspid on the right, bicuspid on the left. It's just anatomy. I'm just trying to remind you this is how to think about these things. Just picture it happening in your mind. There's phase one. Get the top to go squeeze. What if I squeezed all four chambers at the same time? That would be bad. So we're not going to do that. Right? Not going to do that. These will, once they squeeze, they'll open back up. You don't see that happening, but they've had their fun. Let's squeeze the ventricles. Do you expect them to be harder or easier to fire? They're harder because they're bigger. So we got to send some signals. This does not go like people think. So let's watch. I need another button now. A backup plan. This is a backup plan. If the top one breaks, you don't just drop dead. There are some backups, or we'll probably all be dead. He's between the atrium and the ventricle on the right-hand side. We call him an AV node, atrioventricular. He's in between an atrium and a atrioventricular, just like it sounds. An AV node is usually what we call it, and everyone forgets what it means with atrioventricular. It says it in the notes, so we got the note. Okay. Normally, it doesn't do its own thing. Normally, it gets turned on by the first node. That same wash that made the atria squeeze also turns him on. So he gets turned on by that wave. He gets all excited by the domino that fell in front of him. This is just a series of dominoes. If the SA node is broken, remember, you don't actually need your atria to squeeze much. Gravity pulls the blood down. You can live your life right now, and your SA node may be broken and you don't know it. You probably would have figured it out by this point, but it could be. If it is broken and your atria aren't firing, you can see it on an ECG. I'll show you how to spot that. But you're not dead. You have an AV node that could take over. It's just going to fire more slowly. Okay? This is going to be about 50 to 60, I think is our number. I think there's some variation there. I usually stick with like a number around 50 is what's stuck in my head. So let me just put 50. If you get anywhere close to 50, it's got to be lower than 75, right? 50 BPM. That's quite a bit slower than 75. I mean, just driving down the highway, 75 to 50, that's quite a bit. So you will stay alive. Your atria won't fire. Your ventricles will still fire. That's the good news. If they stop firing, you're in trouble. But there is a backup plan here. But it's not called a sinus rhythm anymore. If you're beating, your heart rhythm it's established by this AV node. It's called a junctional rhythm. All this is in the notes. You can see there, but I'm just cramming it on one page like I always do. Junctional rhythm. Slower. And some people don't even know they have this. They just always had a slow heart rate. Never looked into why. Could be that. In a normal person, that's what happens though. The SA node fires, sinus rhythm, we have this wash, the atria fired, simultaneously systolic, takes about 1/10 of a second. At the same time, the AV node gets excited. It will not fire a wave down. It's not what it does. It's going to talk to another button that's over here. And it usually has a connecting wire of some kind. This guy, and I'm getting too many yellow stuff on here all of a sudden. I should change my color a while ago. So this little guy, just so I don't confuse it with yellow stuff, this is called an AV bundle. That works. Although you could call it the bundle of hiss. Bundle of hiss. You could just call it AV bundle. I learned it as the bundle of hiss, so it still shows that it's not his or hers. Although sometimes on tests that is a choice, bundle of hers, and people choose it, strangely enough. So bundle of hiss, AV bundle. It's in the very top of the interventricular septum. AV bundle, bundle of hiss. So that's what will happen if it's normal. SA node fires. 1/10 of a second later, after the atria squeeze, the AV node fires. It sends messages to the bundle. Okay. Here we go. Through the septum, we need 2 wires to come down. All the way to the apex. So we got 2 wires from the bundle that splits down right to the interventricular septum, all the way down to the apex of the heart. These fellows are called the left and right bundle branches. Bundle branches. I'm sure there's alternate words for these. I'm telling you the ones I use, the ones that are in your notes. You can use one that you know. If it's a true one, use it. I'll learn it. Okay. Still no squeeze. We're just sending the signal all the way down to the bottom. Now what happens is these will radiate out kind of like this, up the walls of these large ventricles. So just kind of show them fanning out up the side. You can see these in the models back there too. So those bundle branches head toward the apex, they hit the bottom and split off, and they kind of lightning bolt bounce back up the sides. All of these little guys that are bouncing up the walls here are called Purkinje fibers. Purkinje fibers. Purkinje fibers. I'm not sure where the word comes from. I think from the guy's name. Purkinje. That's how we say it here. I don't know how you really say it. Purkinje fibers. Still what they're called. I don't know any alternate term for them. At this point, now we're going to generate waves of electricity. So far we haven't sending waves out to the tissue. We've just been sending the signal down everywhere. Just like fire ants, they're going to crawl all up your leg first before they fire. When they fire, they'll fire all at the same time. It's hard to show this. So let's go to the top again. The SA node fires every 800 milliseconds, 75 BPM. It fires, it sends a wash over the atria. Electrical waves, about 0.1 seconds it takes, and they squeeze. At the same time, the AV node gets excited. He sends a message to the bundle. The bundle sends that message through the septum via the bundle branches down to the apex. Wires split up the walls of the ventricles. We call these Purkinjes. At that point, we're going to get almost like an echo effect. Almost like we shout a message at the bottom, and then the waves come from the bottom back up. For those really, really, really smart people, when we start to look at ECG stuff, you're like, why the hell do we have depolarization going down? we'll see the thing's flipped. It's like you're supposed to re-pole this way, and it's not gonna work out because of this echo. So we're not gonna even try to explain it because it's like medical school level. But the point is, we send the signal all the way down before it fires back up. So it's gonna take longer than 0.1 second to do that. The top can fire and wash easy. The bottom, we have to go here, then here, then here, then it's gonna take triple the time. So the number I'll put here is 0.3 seconds. It takes triple the time to excite the ventricles as it does to excite the atria. Now the picture gets messy here. There's some really good videos on YouTube. There's some really crappy ones. Watch the good one. Keep the ones you watch, keep them under 5 minutes. I want a 45-minute video on the heart. You just wasted 42 minutes. Okay? There it is. Tell yourself the story. We're going to put this in. Remember, this is the first way we're seeing this. It's usually out here at this point. Just try to figure it out. Remember, the test on this is a ways away. Okay, there you go. There's the story, cardiac conduction. All these are in the notes. I'm going to do some check in a minute. This picture is done, I think. I can say it again and again and again, but you need to start saying it to yourself, and that would be better. Again, if you're here after class or before class and you want to come to me and say, can I practice this? I'll say, grab a piece of chalk and talk. It's good for it. Again, if your story starts, study more. It sucks, but that's how to do it. Okay, cardiac conduction. Got it. Let's get some more here. See this in a different way and then a different way. If you smoosh them together, maybe we'll get it. This is hard. I think one of the hardest sections in nursing is the cardio section. And the drug section too, right? And the math stuff. Doses. She loves math. A nurse who sucks at math is deadly. SA, sinus rhythm, 7-5, check, got it, right? Got it. AV node, delay impulse for 0.1, 50, junctional, check, got it, right? If you took notes, we got it. If you don't, there it is. That's what I was talking about while you were asleep. AV bundle, bundle of his, no bundle of hers, blah, 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 only connection between your treatment vegetables. Who's next? Bundle branches, right? 2 pathways, interventricular septum, toward the apex, right? Check your picture, make sure it makes sense when you're reading the word. Does it fit with everything? It does. What do we do at the bottom? Who's the last step here? Purkinje's, right? Complete the pack, the pathway up into the walls. I will show you this. There is another rhythm. I mean, if my AV node's broken too, I can still stay alive, barely. 30 BPM is not enough to go running around the building. But if you're laying in a hospital bed, you can keep going. So, and even if that breaks, there's another one for you. So there's got 4 backups here, four pacemakers that could take over. You want the first one to not get broken though. But there is a rhythm. I don't even know the name of the rhythm. I don't know much about this at all. There's the picture we attempted to draw, right? The thing that I didn't draw is, look at this. Again, another blue word picture. These are good. These Purkinje's, look where they go. They not only go up the walls, but where? What are these called? They go up to the papillary muscles, right? So as all this rhythm is being, the squeeze rhythm, it's also the pull, the flaps rhythm is all regulated at the same time. So those Purkinje's go up into those papillary muscles too. That's not a big deal, but you can see that there. That all of this is a coordinated system. There's nothing that just kind of happens because, or would all be dead by now. So a very, very coordinated cardiac conduction system. All right, I'm just reading to make sure I got all the goodies here. I think I did. A picture like this, very similar to this, will be on the heart test. There will be an image. There will be multiple images on this heart test. The endocrine test, I don't know if there's even one image on it. It's all words and words. Okay, let's do this love-dub thing, which is stupid. Whoever named this is a moron. Love-dub. I say love-dub. You can put 2 B's, 2 P's, love-dub. I've seen it all ways. I call it bump-bump. Okay, that's for this. Let's do the same picture we just did. But let's do it like without any anatomy. do it just brain. That's gonna be harder. This, I drew this picture on every heart test I ever took. Sometimes it helped, sometimes it did not. Eight by 2. Why 8?
Seconds.
How long is the cardiac cycle? And how long is the SA node fire? 800 milliseconds, right? 0.8 seconds. So I've broken this off up into tenths of a second. There's 8 of them. That's one full cycle. If you have a normal sinus rhythm, this is going to show you what's happening at each of the tenths of a second. There should be 8 of them though. So that's just showing, hey, time. I'm going to put A over V. It's not artery vein. What is it? Atrioventricles. We're talking about the heart here, not blood vessels. That's the next chapter, and it's awful. Okay. An open box represents a diastole, an open chamber. And a hashed out box is the squeeze. What's it called? Systole. And from that, you can answer all kinds of questions. Some of you don't even know what it means. Does that count? What happens right here? How do we start the process? SA node fires. Right? SA node fires. That's moment 1. What happens when the SA node fires? It sends a wave over the 2 atria. How long does that take? Boom! And what happens when it washes over? Squeeze. That's it. That's the atrial squeeze. So you could ask questions. How long are the atria systolic during the cardiac cycle? That's it. 0.1 seconds. Then what happens for the next 0.7 seconds? It's open. We'll just worry about the atria right now. The atria is closed for a tenth of a second. The other 7 tenths, the 7 tenths, it's open. That's it. That shows you how little the atria do work. They're squeezed up. So you can change it. How long is atrial diastole? It better equal to 8. Yeah, better. Because it's an 8 system. It's got 8 breaks. Again, you can sit on a test and think about this. If I ask these hard questions, you can gather the info from it if you know how to read the chart. If you don't like this chart, don't use it. I'm telling you, I used it on every hard test I took. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't help at all. What about the other thing? First of all, what's going on with the line, the arrow up there? In the atria squeeze, where's the blood going? To the ventricles, right? So what valves would shut there? The tricuspid and bicuspid, right? Because you don't want it to backflow, right? You have to picture this in your mind at some point. You have to study that well to picture it. The atria squeeze, the blood's gone down to the ventricles. Right? So the AV valves, the cuspids, shut. Want to shut the door, it makes a noise. We call that the lub. That's the first heart noise when you listen to someone's heart. It goes boop, 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 boop. That's lub dub, lub dub. There's the lub. Doors don't make a sound when I open them. They make a sound when I shut it. So you're gonna hear the bump because the AV valve's shut. If you know the timing, you can logically figure this out on the test. Most people just memorize it and hope they don't mess up. Okay, then for 3/10 of a second, right? What happens during those hashes? What's going on there? Yeah, right here, who gets excited? Here at some point we get who? Oh, I think I wrote, oh, I did write right. Yeah, AV node fires. That's going to cause a signal to be sent to the bundle of his, down the bundle branches, up the Purkinje, and what are we going to have? Ventricular systole, right? The ventricle squeeze. It takes 0.3 seconds for that to happen. It takes 3 times as long to squeeze the ventricles as it does the atria because they're larger and you have to go down those pathways. That's what it's showing. It takes 3 seconds. So we can do the same thing. How long is ventricular systole? Hey, come back. Yeah. How long does where'd it go? Ventricular systole. 0.3, just like we said. And it's illustrated. How long is ventricular diastole then? It's got to equal 8, right? It's a cycle. You got to go around the block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white blocks. These are ways of just kind of deriving information without memorizing it. You have to think, yes. It's not a flashcardable thing, no. But it does work. How many, what would it look like if all 4 chambers were squeezed at the same time? What would it look like on this page? You would have what? Dark over dark. Did we ever have dark over dark? No. If we had dark on top of dark, we'd be in trouble. That would be all 4 chambers at once, so we don't want that. So over here I have one more arrow at the end of it. Where did the blood was in the ventricles, right? Where did it go? On the right side, where did it go? It went up the pulmonary trunk, pulmonary arteries to the lungs, right? Where did it go on the left side? Be specific. What tube did it go into? The aorta, right? To the aortic valve. So what valves are shutting there? Not the AV valves. Semilunar is closed. So here's where you get the duct, or the other one, whatever the hell they call it. You get it from the pulmonary valve and the aortic valve slamming shut. Now, if you don't know the anatomy, this does not make any sense, I know. It's part of the problem with this chapter, and the brain chapter. If you don't know the parts, the timing's weird. It just comes later. Just get down notes for you to study 2 weeks from now. Okay. Again, this is for you. You can use it or not use it. There might not be any questions on the test, or you'll have to use it, but there it is. I used this a lot in school back in the day. Okay, I still use it, right? There we go. There's another way to see cardiac cycle. But no picture of a heart here, just thinking about what's happening, thinking about who's open, who's closed, where's the blood. If you can do this in your mind, you'll be a lot better off if you can. Okay, let's look at a couple more things today. I want to give time to go to the test and have people study and all that fun stuff. So problems. We usually don't talk about too many problems, but I want to mention a few of these. Arrhythmia, right? No rhythm. Makes sense? That would be bad. No rhythm. How's the blood flowing? I don't know. There's no rhythm. I don't know. A type of arrhythmia. There are many types, but one type is called fibrillation. Fluttering. What fibrillate means is to flutter. If your heart walls are fluttering, they're not pumping. Your blood is not moving, and you are dying. How do you help someone who's in fibrillation? You should use a what on them? A what? A what? Say the whole word. Okay, here's what people say. I can't even get it right. That's why people call it a defibrillator, which means to remove your leg bone. Do not ever defibrillate someone. Grab the defibrillator, this leg has to go. I say this all the time. It's not a defibrillator, what is it? It's a defibrillator. Fibrillator. If you say defibrillator, you sound like a moron. Don't do it. They will laugh at you and call you names. Well, don't remove anybody's fibrillator. Defibrillator. How do you use a defibrillator? Yeah, it was shock. Why? What are you trying to do?
Restart the heart.
No. You're trying to make the heart stop. That's what you're trying to do with a defibrillator. Send so much energy through their heart that the nodes say, ah! And it says, I'm not doing anything. Why would you do that? Because when it goes, ah, you hope it says, oh, I'm supposed to be beating. And then it says, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this. Sometimes you gotta hit them again, right? So that's what defibrillation is all about. You want to shock the heart to a point where it stops moving. And then it's supposed to trick it into saying, oh, I'm supposed to be doing something, right? The movie where the guy's dead and she's on top, not that way. That would be a weird movie. Beating, please, damn you, don't die. Then he wakes up. Does that happen? You better believe it does. It's called a cardiac thump. And if you don't have a defibrillator, that's what you do, is do a cardiac thump. You bang this shit out of their chest, and if they wake up, you scream. Enjoy. If you work in an ambulance, you will see this happen, and you will flip out, probably. What else can you do if it has to be done? Cut a hole, reach in, cardiac massage. Yeah, you pump it for them. That's extreme, but it's battlefield shit right there. So, I mean, you gotta do something. You can't just stare. He's dying. Do something. So, you'll see this if you work at a hospital. You'll see it. Don't freak out. You'll get fired. So, ectopia, or an ectopic, is an adjective. It means not right place. You're in the wrong place. You're ectopic. You might have heard of an ectopic pregnancy where the thing tries to implant in the wrong spot. Like it tries to implant the fallopian tube. That would be bad. It's an ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic focus just means SA node is broken. That's the main pacemaker. If someone else has taken over, that's called ectopia, or an ectopic focus. Just know the term there. And I want to show you a heart block, but it might not be what you think. You hear about these things, heart blockers, beta blockers. There's so many things that sound the same that are not the same. I'll probably show that to you in the ECGs. Should be next, right? Make sure we know this, even though it's stuff you learned in A&P1, I'll just hit the highlights. The heart sets its own rhythm. We know that. The heart sets its own rhythm. It's modified by the autonomic system, of course. Slow up, speed up. But if I want to turn on, it's my pacemakers that do that. That's who starts the rhythm. That's who sets the rhythm. The brain can modify it, especially the medulla. Mauve blanc, all right, the mauve. That's your default answer. If you don't know where the vital center is located, pick mauve. And then this is all things you learned before. I don't really care about all that. You've heard it before. There's a cardio acceleratory. I bet that speeds up the heart. You can figure that out on a test. So don't do heroin, right? That's what that says. Heroin turns off your brainstem. Then you stop breathing and heart beating and living, right? Yeah. Okay. The ECG, or if you live in Germany, EKG, same thing. Cardio, they spell it. Over there and across the pond. It's the same thing. Electrocardiogram, electrocardiograph, one is the machine, one is the printout, I don't care. You can learn to become an electrocardiologist in a few weeks of training. You can work in a hospital doing this next month. So you don't get paid a lot to do it, but you can get a job doing this, get your foot in the door. So we need to know about these waves of electricity. Again, how do you do this? How do you read someone's heart waves? You have to cut their chest open? No, we're made of water, aren't we? We're just big bags of water. If my heart's beating and there's electricity flowing, I can detect it on the surface of the body. You can turn a special camera and see this glow of energy on people. It's not your psychic aura. Please stop that shit. It's electricity. I don't watch those shows. Please don't anymore. So here's P. Here's the QRS. That's usually how you talk about it. That big spike. Okay, there's zero up here. And then the T's on the other side. So if I were going to draw this fancily, I'd have, a little bump here and a little bump here on either side, and then the jagged thing. So we need to know what these things mean. Little bump, little bump, then repeat. Little bump, little bump. You know what it means already. It's just another way of watching cardiac conduction. And you see the node picture there, right? SA node, AV node, bundle of His, bundle branches, Purkinje's. You see it again, it's just going to say it in a different way. So there's a few ways to learn this. I'm going to show you the ways here. Notice the timing at the bottom. 0.8 seconds. That's all you should notice on these things if you can. These are such good pictures. They're so good. It shows you what's happening, not only with the blips of the ECG, as I call them, but it's showing you what's happening electrically, who's depoling and repoling, and which way the flow of energy is moving. Here comes that echo back up, right? They're such nice pictures for a low-level biology book. This is perfect pictures for these. Again, you don't have to explain it. If you can see it happening, it's better. Watch videos on YouTube. That'll be even better, because you can see it animated. But this shows you what's happening during each of the blips. So let's talk about what's happening during each of the blips. This is mainly your point, is what's a P wave mean? Well, it's the first event. So it's got to be the first thing happening. SA node fires. What happens though? What happens to the heart during the P wave? What's happening in the chambers? The atria are squeezed. So what's the word? Systolic. Yeah, the atria are systolic here. What's happening in the ventricles? They better be open, right? We can't have simultaneous squeeze. So during this point, the atria are systolic, the ventricles are diastolic. That's what's physically happening in the heart. But what is the P wave caused by? Depolarization of the SA node. That's what's causing it. P wave is caused by an energy boost, depole of the SA node. Sodium coming in, right? This causes atrial systole, that's the implication. At the same time, the atria are systolic, the ventricles better reopen. It says it right here, kind of like, hey, atrial depolarization. That means the squeezing of the atria here. Should take about 0.1 seconds here. Right in the middle there. The whole thing takes a little bit longer. Okay, that's it. A P wave is the SA node firing. That will cause the atria to squeeze. Now we got this big spike. It's got to be a ventricle story because it's bigger. It's a lot bigger. And that's what's happening there. Ventricular dipole is the next one. And it says that, ventricular depolarization. You could say something about the bundle of His and the Purkinje's firing, but it's all understood there. We've gone through that thing. It took a little bit longer. It bounced back up from the bottom. But what's happening to the chambers here? The atria now are, they better be open. And now the ventricles are squeezing. That's the deal. You can't be all squeezed together. So the atria are open diastolic. The ventricles are squeezed now. So you're going to squeeze the top, squeeze the bottom. Everybody pause. There's the T wave. The ventricles are so big and there's nothing else happening. We can see a blip, even though it's small. You see this little blip, the T wave there at the end. We can see that little blip of ventricular repole. So the thing to say, okay, it's caused by ventricular repolarization, but what's happening here? All chambers open. This is the rest. So it's the same concept. During the P wave, we're squeezing the atria. During this QRS, we're squeezing the ventricles. And during this T wave, everybody resets. The ventricles are so big we can see them resetting electrically. But I don't need to jab something into your heart to take it. I can stick little leads all over you. The more leads that I stick to your body, the better I can pinpoint the stuff. 3 is enough, but they put like 12 on now just to make sure you get it all done. You look like some weirdo. All the stuff stuck all over you, but it helps them pinpoint. You get a really good electrocardiogram. Okay, see it here again? There will be an image of this on the test. It'll be quite simple. I think it's a matching section, actually, how easy it is. So, be able to know what each of these blips are. P blip is this, QRS blip is that, and the T wave is that. Not only know who's getting repoled, depoled, but what physically is occurring in the heart. I'm squeezing around open. That's as far as you need to get into it. I'll show you a couple little extra points, but as far as test questions, I mean, you're looking at them right there. Okay. ECG. Practice this. Okay, normal sinus rhythm. Let's see. What is this wave here? I'm gonna miss. That's a P. What's happening? Atria is squeezing, right? This is my QRS, right? Let's put a Q. Ventricles are squeezing. And then this is the T where everybody's chilling out, right? Everybody go back to normal. And then repeat. Atria squeeze, ventricle squeeze, reset. Atria squeeze, ventricle squeeze, reset. PQT, PQT, PQT. That's normal. If I could time this, what should the timing be between any two? Should be 0.8 seconds, right? Should be, if it's a normal sinus rhythm. I don't see the timing there. But I see a P and a Q and a T and a P and a Q and a T and a P and a Q. We got atria, ventricles, wait. Atria, ventricles, wait. Atria, ventricles, that's what it means. And you can do that if you want. You can just do what I do. Say P means atria, Q is ventricles, and you can talk yourself through this. T is wait. I know it's not true, but it works. Do it for the next one, atria, ventricles, wait. What do we have here? It's not right, is it? There's ventricles, wait. Ventricles, wait. Ventricles, wait. Ventricles, wait. What's missing? So what's happening here? My atria are not squeezing. Right? Probably because my SA node's broken. And I got that junctional rhythm of about 50 BPM. This is showing you that your AV node is taken over. Remember, you can live like this. You don't have to have the atria squeeze unless you're like an athlete or something. If you're just sitting on the couch, I mean, it's probably pretty for most things. So there is no P wave. There are no P waves. There are no atrial squeezes at all. It's just ventricles, 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 which is enough to keep it going, actually. This is a heart block in number C. Let's try this one real quick. This one's a little weird because it messes with me. Let's try this. What is, well, let's try this here. What is this one? It's a P. And then a Q. And then a T. And another P. And then it does it again. P, Q, T, P. What's going on here? It's going atria, ventricles, pause, atria. Atria, ventricles, pause, atria. The atria are hitting twice for every ventricle squeeze. And it says that there. It's hard to figure this out just by me saying it. But if you sit and look at it, you see it there. Atria fire, ventricles